Probably the first person to get past me will be the person that wins this Dutch Grand Prix. Currently, it's again the two Ferraris really hounding me from behind. Leclerc P2, Sainz P3. And as we head towards Sector 3, the final few corners heading into the stadium section. Very hard on the brakes. It's 3 wide. There's massive contact between myself and Charles Leclerc. Sainz is forced into the gravel trap. And there's absolute chaos here at Zandvoort. Hello guys, Turbocharged 51 over here. I hope you're having a splendid day wherever you are in the world. Welcome back to Turbo Fox Races and welcome back to F1 23 career mode with me driving for Aston Martin alongside my hero Fernando Alonso. Now guys, in this episode we start off the episode with contract renegotiations. Honestly, I don't know why Aston Martin would not want us to re-sign because we are currently leading the drivers and the Constructors' Championship. So there's no reason for them to not hire us, but you guys can keep an eye on the contract negotiations that's going on your beautiful screen.
Salary will go into your perk fund. The more you demand, the lower the chances of our success. Do make sure that you don't go demanding anything unrealistic for your acclaim level. If you do, the team might refuse to negotiate any more with you in this negotiation period.
We're not going to go too high risk because obviously this is still season 1. We are still basically classified as a rookie, even though a rookie is leading the championship. But in any case, guys, so we're heading towards the home of Max Verstappen. We're heading towards Zandvoort in the Netherlands for the Dutch Grand Prix. So obviously we know Max is going to be a big card playing this weekend. We actually have an unfortunate failure of aerodynamics upgrade. It was our redesigned brake ducts, so we just repurchased that because that is an upgrade that I really want to go onto the car. And now we head towards a little season break because obviously you guys know by now we're doing a 16 race calendar, not the full 23, which to me is utterly insane. But in any case, so we've got a little bit of a marketing department event that we have to attend to quickly. We have to choose a rival. And obviously, my 3 biggest rivals are Verstappen, Leclerc, and Hamilton. So we're going to go with Max here because Sainz and Perez are not really a rival at this stage of the season. So I feel that is our safest bet to go with. And as you guys see there, our PR team thinks that was the best choice. So we now head towards the 24th of, is there a month there? Yes, the 24th of August, as we are now here at Zandvoort for the Dutch Grand Prix. Excuse that little random jump there in the recording. I don't know what happened there. But you guys can see the end of the previous round literally marked the halfway point of the season. We are currently on 3 wins in a row. We know this streak will not keep going forever, so we have to keep our wits about ourselves. But guys, looking at the performance chart, do you guys see a little problem in a papaya orange line? The field has literally been divided into 2. The top 5 and the bottom 5. We at Aston Martin still lead the way from Red Bull in P2. McLaren is now the 3rd best car, a pixel ahead of Ferrari. Mercedes are P5. Then it's a fight between Alpine, Williams, and not AlphaTauri. I actually don't know who the 3rd line is, but I think it's Haas. But it's Haas, Alpine, and you guys can see it's actually pretty darn insane right now. So there's a lot that's going to happen this weekend. And if any of the top 10 guys mess up, the rest will pounce on the points. So the gap in between the front runners and the rest of the grid is reasonably large, but it's not to an extent where they can't capitalize if we make silly, stupid mistakes. So we need to really keep our wits about us, like I said. So we're going to jump straight into qualifying from here. We are still overall the best car on the grid, and I've just purchased some upgrades. You guys can see there's 5 upgrades on the way, 2 engine upgrades, 1 aero upgrade, and 2 chassis upgrades. And all of these upgrades are very much needed heading into Season 2 if we do stay with Aston Martin and not win the championship. For those of you guys that are new to the channel, I've got a rule. As soon as I win a driver's championship with the team, I have to part ways with the team. It's just a bonus if I can get the constructors as well. But if I just win the constructors and not the drivers championship, I stay with them. It has to be the drivers championship. So out in Q1 is both the Alpines of Ocon and Gasly, the Williams of Sargent, the Haas of Nico Hulkenberg, and the AlphaTauri of Nick De Vries. There wasn't really much to show in Q1, guys. Obviously, with this car being as fast as it is, Q1 was honestly just a minor necessity. So we got. So I was only 12. I wasn't like really going for it. I just wanted to get safely into Q2 and not take too much out of the set of tires that I used on the previous lap that you guys saw. This is now the new set of softs for the end of our Q2 run. We're 1.6 seconds up on our time. We come across the line, and it is a very, very good P4, just ahead of our teammate Alonso. The top 10 are separated by less than half a second. But guys, here is the big news. Sergio Perez has been knocked out of Q3. He's out of qualifying. He's 15th, along with Zhou, Tsunoda, Albon, and Magnussen. The only car that is not part of the top 5 teams that's in Q3 is the Alfa Romeo of Valtteri Bottas. The other 9 cars are all in the top 5 teams. It's both of us at Aston, me and Alonso, the Red Bull of Verstappen, both Ferraris of Leclerc and Sainz, both Mercs of Russell and Hamilton, both McLarens of Norris and Piastri. So Verstappen and Bottas are the 2 outsiders, I kind of want to say. But obviously this is Max's home Grand Prix, so I think Max is going to be very much a terror in this Grand Prix because he always wants to shine in front of his home fans. We are now on to our final lap in Q3, and as you guys can see, excuse the cut in the middle of the lap there with the recording. Once again, it was very bouncy. For some other reason, a lot of the recording that I did of this race was like super bouncy and stuff. So guys, I do apologize if that comes through in the video, but I tried to edit it as good as possible without cutting out too much of the story of this video. But you guys can see, coming towards the end of our final lap in qualifying, almost 3.5 tenths up on our time. Over the line we go, and it's only P8. We out-qualify Russell and Bottas, but everybody else out-qualifies us. And oh my word, look at the Ferraris. Sainz takes pole position from Leclerc by 45/100ths of a second. Alonso's in P3 for us at Aston Martin. I'm very happy about that. Norris pulls a blinder in P4, and then it's Hamilton and Verstappen. So Leclerc's in the box seat for this race to make a lot of damage.
Welcome along then to the North Sea coast and to the Zandvoort circuit. We're 25 miles away from Amsterdam for today's Dutch Grand Prix. It's a race the great Jim Clark won on 4 occasions, leading for an astonishing total of 370 laps. A lap of this short 2.6 mile Zandvoort circuit features 14 corners, 10 to the right and 4 to the left, with a 678-metre main straight heading into turn 1, Tarzan Corner. And on that straight with DRS open, that'll be the best overtaking opportunity on this track. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. It's Carlos Sainz in pole position, with Charles Leclerc alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Fernando Alonso, Norris, Hamilton, Verstappen, O'Connor, Russell, Bottas, Zhou, Tsunoda, Albon, Perez, Ocon, Gasly, Oscar Piastri, Sargent, Hulkenberg, De Vries, and Kevin Magnussen fills the last spot on the grid. With preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track. And with me today, of course, is Natalie Pinkham. They've been involved in a number of costly incidents lately. That's got to affect their mindset going into this race.
It's not an ideal situation by any means. When you get into a bad run like that, there's always the risk of frustration creeping in, which can cause more mistakes and locks you into this vicious cycle. Hopefully today they can get through turn 1 cleanly and stay calm for the rest of the race.
Guys, we are sitting on the grid for the Dutch Grand Prix. And guys, honestly, you guys know this season I've been more favorable towards a 2-stop. And today is not going to be any different. We're going to do a double stint on mediums and go to the softs. Because high tire wear around Zandvoort, you literally, it's as if the track turns into an ice rink. I'm going to overfuel the car because this track is also heavy on fuel. There's a lot that can happen in this race. So let's, without any further ado, get into this. I mean, we have been bumped up to P7 because someone has received a penalty. I'm actually not sure who, but someone received a penalty. Interesting strategy from Mercedes. They're both going hard, and the rest of us are on softs and mediums. It was Piastri actually that got a penalty, but it's time for the race.
The formation lap gets underway and every driver will be looking to settle in for the race ahead, making sure that their car is ready for the battle once the lights go out. So as all the cars reform the grids, the drivers will be hoping to get a strong start. They'll want to earn some valuable points from today's race, with final communications being done with their race engineers, ensuring the planned strategies are all in place.
Guys, we are lining up on the grid, P7 in our beautiful Aston Martin. It is now or never for the rest of this video. And guys, obviously, I still feel good. The car is still blisteringly quick and we cannot fool about. There's still a massive championship on the line. There's 2 championships on the line and we can't play around with this. So without further ado, we head to 5 red lights and it's go, go, go for the Dutch Grand Prix. Ferrari front row with Alonso P3, the McLaren of Lando Norris in P4. I come from behind with Hamilton. We drop Verstappen in the background. We take the wide line through turn 1. 3 wide between myself, Hamilton, and Lando Norris. But Alonso has gotten himself in between the 2 Ferraris as Sainz leads the way from Alonso. Then it's Leclerc in P3. We've managed to get ourselves up into P4, so it's a checkered board of Ferrari and Aston Martin in your front 4. Norris follows in P5 with Hamilton and Verstappen following close behind. It's a beautiful first lap here from Aston Martin. Alonso gains 1. We gain, 3 positions on the first lap. But the thing is, one of the Ferraris is on the soft tires, and I think that is Leclerc. Sainz has gone the same way as me and Alonso on the mediums, if I'm not mistaken. So Leclerc is going to be blisteringly quick on this first stint. But let's look at this. Alonso gets an absolute slobber knocker of a launch off the line. He keeps to the outside. Sainz defends his teammate and leaves the door wide open for Alonso. Luckily, he gets a rude awakening very quickly and manages to defend from the 2-time world champion Alonso. Then right behind, obviously, Leclerc follows with myself, but we're going to have a few replays of the start, guys, because there was way too much that happened in way too little corners for one person to commentate on. Let's have a look here at my start. You guys can see Verstappen gets a lot of wheel spin off the line, and we, just like Alonso, get a beautiful start alongside Hamilton on the hard side. I knew I had to get past Lewis as quickly as possible because he was going to be very slow for the first 8 to 10 laps on those hards, with all of us being on softer and quicker tires. But you guys can see I almost ran into the back of Leclerc as my braking point for turn 3 was not very optimal. And even though I almost ran into the back of him, I tried to get him to unsettle him to go for the move. But I am not currently capable of doing that. We jump towards lap 3 now. As you guys can see, Leclerc on these soft tires. Again, apologies for the jumpiness in the recording. Leclerc goes around the outside of Alonso as he's trying to chase down his teammate Carlos Sainz. But you guys can see it now. Alonso's trying to come back at Leclerc as well as we are. It's 3 wide heading into turn 1. We go for a massive dive up the inside as we just shut the door in Leclerc and Alonso's face. Leclerc manages to stay ahead of Alonso, but Alonso loses out doubly there. Let's have a replay here of my onboard so that you guys can see properly everything that happened between Alonso and Leclerc and myself. This track also, guys, is extremely tough on the ERA, so you can't just waste it because it's so hard to get it back. But you guys can see, just with DRS in assistance, there was no way that I was just going to let this go, because both of them went through the detection point at exactly the same time, and none of the two cars in front of me had DRS. I had to pounce, and that is us up into P2, now trying to chase after Carlos Sainz. But we come towards the end of lap 4, and those soft tires on Leclerc's car have still not seen the worst days. Here comes Charles Leclerc, and guys, I knew at this stage there was no point in defending Leclerc. I can just try and stick in Leclerc's slipstream and his DRS as he closes up to the rear end of Sainz. But here I can see a massive moment for me coming out of turn 1, as it's a little bit of a shimmy there, as I'm too eager on the throttle on top of the curb. We quickly have a replay here of Lando Norris mounting a move here on Alonso, and Norris is also on the soft compound tire, so he is going for the same strategy as Leclerc here. Well, that's only what we can assume, as he goes dancing around the outside of the British Racing Green Aston Martin of Alonso. And guys, now we come to lap 5. Verstappen managed to get ahead of Hamilton and is now also going for the move on Alonso, as Verstappen is also on the soft tires. But guys, at this stage, I was starting to scratch my head a bit, because Alonso was really slow. Like, it's already lap 6 and he's battling to stay in P5, and at the start he was in P2. I very quickly radioed my engineer, where he informed me that Fernando does seem to have a problem, and on a weekend where I thought we could get a double Aston Martin podium, unreliability in the Aston Martin garage is biting us in the buttocks. So Alonso is losing positions lap by lap. The mediums now at lap 10 have seen the better days, as well as the softs. So those two Mercs on their hard compound tires are going to be menaces coming from behind. And then you still got Piastri and Perez trying to make their way through the field. Here goes Verstappen as he gets ahead of Norris, and he is now up into P4, right behind myself and the two Ferraris. We come to lap 13, and you guys can see I've already pulled the plug for my first stop. Like I said, guys, as soon as the tires get to a certain point, grip is non-existent and you just lose too much time. I knew that I was going to just dump myself inside of a lot of traffic here, but I honestly didn't care. And as you guys hear from my engineer on the radio, we had a slow pit stop because our right rear tire didn't go on properly.
Okay, stay clear of the white line on the exit. We'll receive a penalty for dangerous driving if you cross onto the track.
Thank you very much, Mark, but guys, that has cost us some time. We luckily come out just ahead of Logan Sargent, and there's a bit of clean air ahead of us, as it's 4 seconds towards the next car. We come to lap 15, and I've caught up to the back of the two Haas cars, Hulkenberg and Magnussen right ahead of me. And guys, these fresh mediums felt like I had strapped a rocket ship to the car. It was so fast, and the grip was just incredible. If the mediums feel like this, I do not want to know how the softs are going to feel on the final stint with a light car. You guys know this Aston absolutely flourishes on low fuel and grippy tires. So you guys see ahead there, one of the other cars comes in. It's Esteban Ocon for Alpine, as we come across the line to set an 11.9 and take the fastest lap of the Grand Prix at this stage. There's Charles Leclerc. We jump Leclerc in the pit lane, so we are ahead of the one Ferrari man, but Sainz is still out there on his medium tires. We just swoop around the outside of Pierre Gasly around turn 3, as we now look at the rear wing of Oscar Piastri, the McLaren that things are really not working out for in this race so far. But guys, honestly, these new tires were working wonders. And you guys can see on my little graph there, my engine is also a little bit of lime green. My engine does not look the best, but for this Grand Prix where you don't need too much engine power, I thought I would just eke these parts out and just take a newer engine later in the season and use this engine to the best of its capabilities for as long as possible. You guys can see that I make absolute mincemeat of Oscar Piastri, and now Leclerc is the one who's stuck in traffic, not myself, as he's trying to get past the Alpine of Pierre Gasly, and I've put 2 cars in between myself and Charles Leclerc. Here we can look at a replay of this move on Piastri again, guys. Awesome dive up the inside in a very uncharacteristic place on the track to make a move, but it's stuck, and I was happy. I now need to chase down the 2 Alfa Romeos of Guan Yu Zhou and Valtteri Bottas. You guys can see Leclerc goes around the outside of Pierre Gasly, heading into the final sector as he's now got his sights set on the McLaren of Oscar Piastri. Alonso is battling with the 2 Mercs again, and it seems like Alonso's car might be fixed, so he's trying to get back into this Grand Prix. But those 2 Mercs on their hard tires do have the grip advantage over Alonso at this current stage. Here goes Charles Leclerc up the inside of Oscar Piastri, the young Aussie rookie. Nothing he can do about the experienced Monegasque as Piastri falls down to P9, and now it's going to be under pressure from his teammate Lando Norris. Leclerc through turn 3, which a lot of people refer to as the corkscrew. I don't know why. It doesn't really give me those vibes. It's just a freaking amazing corner to take at speed. But in any case, so we are now right behind the 2 Alfa Romeos of Guan Yu Zhou and Valtteri Bottas. And again, I'm going to try the same move that I tried on Piastri, because my grip advantage is just sublime right now. But I'm not close enough to Zhou to do so. But the exit out of that corner is absolutely mesmerizing as we just hanging around the outside of the Chinese driver, and we now take P6, and Bottas is going to be an easy move here up the inside with the aidance of DRS, and that is us now up into P5, and now with a 9.8 second gap to the 2 Mercs and Alonso and Sainz. Well, 9 seconds to Russell actually. We've still got some work to do to catch the race, but this is exactly what we needed right now. Leclerc has already made quick work of Guan Yu Zhou, and Bottas gets out of the way of the Ferrari as he comes in for his pit stop. But now, guys, we are back in P4. Sainz has actually come into the pit lane, and we come out right ahead of Sainz. And Leclerc also jumps his teammate, but not completely, side by side for the 2 Ferrari teammates. But that was a very close call there. But Leclerc is ahead of his teammate Sainz. So Sainz goes from P1 to net P3. But I think Sainz is on the hard compound tires going towards the end. And myself definitely needing a second stop, and maybe Leclerc as well. Leclerc obviously softs to mediums. I don't think they're going to last the whole race, but his tires are fairly fresher than mine. And again, I just let Charles pass because there's no point in defending against Charles and costing us both time against Verstappen, who's still a threat, Norris is a threat, and you can never count out these 2 Black Arrow Mercedes. Hamilton is the first one into the lane ahead of Russell as he was the leading Mercedes. He is in for his pit stop. He's probably going to go mediums all the way to the end of this race as we actually come and fight actually against Leclerc, as Leclerc was busy holding us up, and we make a quick move on Leclerc, getting back ahead of the Ferrari, and we also open the door for Carlos Sainz to get himself ahead of his teammate. The end of lap 20, Russell is into the pit lane as Hamilton has come out in P8 ahead of Sergio Perez. But here you guys can see it. Oh, there's a massive battle between myself and the 2 Ferraris. Oh my word, again, a silly jumpy replay. But oh my word, we were 3-1 heading into turn 1, and I will give you guys a replay of that hopefully shortly. But the top 10 is myself, Sainz, Leclerc, Verstappen P4, Norris P5, Alonso is in P6, Hamilton P7, Russell P8, and Perez is in P9. Oscar Piastri in the second McLaren is having a Grand Prix to forget. Guys, here's the replay of what happened between myself, Sainz, and Leclerc as Russell boxed to get off of those hard tires. You guys can see I hugged the inside of the track because I knew with a worn engine and with a very high downforce setup, I was going to be slower in a straight line. But you guys can see just heading into turn 1, they both just absolutely leave the door wide open, and I fluster them as I go for the dive, and they are side by side through this next part of the track, and Sainz gets the better of his teammate Leclerc. There was a little bit of contact between them, but nothing too major. We head towards lap 22, and these 2 Ferraris are trying to come at me again into sector 3. You guys can see I'm defending from Sainz and as well as from Leclerc. But if I was Sainz, I would just stick behind Charles and wait for Charles and myself to go to the pit lane, because the more they're battling with one another and myself, the closer Verstappen and Norris are getting. And this 3-car race for the win is turning into a 5-car race. I'm not sure what strategy Verstappen and Norris are on, but if they are on a 2-stop, Sainz is in the very best possible position to win this Grand Prix. But clearly, he's not thinking ahead. He's thinking about the now, and all he wants to do is battle myself and his teammate Leclerc as he's back up into P2. We now come to lap 23 as we look at the Williams of Logan Sargent going very slowly and unfortunately crawling to a very slow halt, as something within that Williams has gone kaput and he is out of the Dutch Grand Prix. We now look at an insane battle from P10 to about P17. And here you guys can see we're going to go back to this battle as we're searching for Valtteri Bottas, actually, as he is currently the one who looks like he has the pace. But there's smoke coming from behind. And if that's not the commentator's curse, I don't know what is. Valtteri Bottas comes to a halt. And as we go down the main straight, defending from Carlos Sainz, Bottas is out of the station. And it's a red flag. It's a red flag.
In front of you. Red flag. Red flag. We'll update you in the pits. Everyone's okay. Okay, there's been an incident on track. We've done all right so far, but this is a chance to take a breath. We've got another half of this race to go, and there's still a big opportunity there.
Guys, like I said, for the first time in this series, we have seen a red flag here at the Dutch Grand Prix. And just as the red flag flew, Sainz took away P1 from myself. 11 laps to go. Soft tires are going to go on to my Aston Martin, and it's going to be an 11-lap sprint to the finish. Okay, we're so restarting on lap 26, so it's literally 11 laps. 26 to 36. It might sound like 10, but you have to count the lap you start on. We go back to 5 red lights for the restart of this Dutch Grand Prix. Sainz on the mediums, myself on the softs, and everybody behind us on the hards. Sainz and myself in the best position possible to win this race. Into turn 1, we use our soft tire grip advantage, and we take the lead away from Carlos Sainz. Max Verstappen and his Red Bull on those hards is getting very feisty as Leclerc's been bumped down to P4, but Sainz will have the grip advantage right now. So it's myself from Sainz, from Verstappen, and then Leclerc P3, Norris P5, Alonso P6, Perez and Russell battling for P7. Ocon has gotten ahead of Hamilton in P9, and Hamilton rounds at the top 10. But what a restart here at the Dutch Grand Prix with 11 laps to go, including this one, and there is still a lot that can happen. Guys, by the end of this stint, my softs are going to be done, and everybody from behind is going to come knocking, especially Verstappen and Leclerc, because Sainz's mediums are also not going to go that deep. Here you guys can see George Russell going around the outside of Fernando Alonso, as he's also chosen the softs, where Alonso has chosen the mediums in this race. And Russell's still hanging it around the outside and finally getting the best of my teammate Alonso. Alonso's race started so promisingly, and now it has all gone down the drain, which is such a sadness for Fernando Alonso, but there's nothing we can do about it now. We are battling with Sainz and Verstappen still, and things are still very juicy at this stage of the Grand Prix. But as you guys can see, I am not breaking away, and here's where the bad news is gonna hit, guys. A simple glitch in the game. You guys remember at the start of this race, I actually put in 2 laps of extra fuel. With the red flag, that was taken away from me for no good reason whatsoever, and I am literally sitting with the fastest tire on the grid, and I can't push with it because I have to lift and coast and short shift to save fuel. So the pressure on me from every single one behind me is going to be immense, and I have to lift and coast so badly that literally I am the slowest car on the grid right now. I'm literally forming one ginormous train. So this honestly is not looking good for me currently in this race. And guys, honestly, this glitch has not just happened to me, it's happened to some other content creators as well, and it is fracking frustrating because there's nothing that you can do about it. You just have to sit and take it on the chin, and that is not the way I wanted this race to go. You guys can see Verstappen gets past me, but because I've got such a massive grip advantage, I go for the dive bomb of my life to get back into the lead. But now again, it's Sainz coming from behind. Leclerc is there. Everybody behind me now can win this race if I mess up. Probably the first person to get past me will be the person that wins this Dutch Grand Prix. Currently, it's again the 2 Ferraris really hounding me from behind. Leclerc P2, Sainz P3. And as we head towards Sector 3, the final few corners, heading into the stadium section, very hard on the brakes. It's 3 wide. There's massive contact between myself and Charles Leclerc. Sainz is forced into the gravel trap. And there's absolute chaos here at Zandvoort. What on earth just happened there? There's a second red flag for this race. It's probably for an insane amount of debris on the track. Guys, as Sainz just pinches me into Leclerc, That corner is barely a corner for 2 cars, nevertheless 3. There was nowhere I could go, nothing I could do. You guys can see it's 3 wide. Sainz just sends it and he just turns in and there's nowhere for me to go. Absolutely nowhere. And there is just Sainz gets absolutely chucked into the gravel trap. And Leclerc's got front wing damage. Luckily he can replace it now in the pit lane with the red flag. But I think Verstappen was just watching this and just being like, yeah, thank you very much. And guys, actually, Leclerc ran into me trying to avoid the sausage curb. So it wasn't so much Sainz squeezing me, it was more Leclerc hitting me into Sainz's path. So we are going to go on to an old set of softs that we used in qualifying. There's 4 laps left. We still have to save fuel. You guys can see I've only got 3.9 laps of fuel left, and I should have had like 5 laps of fuel left. And there's now 4 laps to go. We're going to have 4 racing laps here. And you guys can see with this time at least we're on pole position. And as the lights go out for the final time here at Zandvoort, it is myself, Leclerc, Verstappen, Russell, Norris. Russell is up into P4. How on earth did he do that? Here we go. Into turn 1. We defend from Verstappen. And as you guys can see on my steering wheel, there is still like 0.17 of fuel that I need to save. But I can't, it's so hard to save on this track because you need to be full throttle for such a big part of the lap. It makes it nearly impossible to actually push. It's literally busy ruining my race, and I'm literally going for my 5th win of the season, my 4th in a row, and I know I can't be stingy, but this is not an easy race to win right now because it feels like everything is against me thanks to a damn game glitch. A game glitch again. In any case, you guys can see Verstappen is trying his absolute best to get past my Aston Martin. And because I'm on a scrubbed set of softs, these guys are really giving me a hard time because all of them now are on almost brand spanking new softs or a slightly scrubbed set of softs from qualifying. But the point is their tires are better than mine. As it's nearly 4 wide as Leclerc nearly pushes Russell into the pit wall. It's absolute insanity. Norris is in between this. There's 5 constructors teams fighting for the top 5 here. Aston Martin, McLaren, Ferrari, Red Bull, and Mercedes. And Norris is the one that gets the best of the other drivers as he is now up into P2. Leclerc P3, Verstappen P4, Russell and Hamilton P5 and P6, Perez P7, Alonso P8, Piastri is in P9. Sainz is coming back from the back of the grid. He's already back up into 11th. But guys, Sainz did have a 5-second penalty for the contact, which happened between me, him, and Leclerc. But I actually think that should have been Leclerc's penalty and not Carlos Sainz's. But if that's the way the FI want to do it, that's the way they made the cookie crumble. In any case, you guys can see again, there's no DRS yet. DRS will be activated on literally on the final lap. But that doesn't mean these guys aren't trying everything in their power. Leclerc and Norris side by side. And this is exactly what I needed. The more these guys battle, the less pressure is on my shoulders. But still, I need to try and get this frickin' Aston Martin to the end with enough fuel to come across the line. But here comes Max Verstappen. Max, Super Max. And it's again a 3-wide moment into turn 1. Max goes in between Norris and Leclerc. They shimmy Leclerc out wide. And here's Norris trying to defend from Verstappen, but there's nothing that the McLaren driver can do as Verstappen is up into P2. And with that very bright red line helmet, he's trying to chase me down. 9/10 of a second. And as we get towards, as we go towards the line to start the final lap of this insane Dutch Grand Prix. Verstappen around the outside into turn 1. I have to go for the dive bomb boy McGee move again as we squeeze Max out wide, and Norris gets back up into P2 and he's right on my rear wing. There's so little I can do right now because I'm still trying to save fuel. I still don't have green fuel numbers. It is still flashing red at me, and all these guys from behind, their fuel is fine. Their fuel is fine. They don't have a worry in the world. So I am very much hitting panic stations right now because at this moment I am not making the line with the current fuel situation. And you guys can see Perez coming from P15 on the grid, actually P14 after Piastri's penalty. He's in this. I am literally the slowest car on the grid. Everybody is separated between 2 to 4 tenths of a second. And here goes now Lando Norris for McLaren heading into the stadium for the final time. We're hanging around the outside to have the inside for the hairpin, and we squeeze Norris out. Verstappen tries to go around the outside of Norris to bag a P2 here, but will our car have enough fuel to get to the line? It's 3/4 of a second, and you guys can see, no, the car chugs!
For the team from Milton Keynes then, after a quality performance. Natalie Pinkham, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
Well, confidence breeds confidence. Success breeds success. They are very much enjoying a purple patch right now.
Red Bull put up an outstanding fight for the front position today, and it's great to see it paid off for them. They do so much for the sports that you can't help but be delighted by today's race win.
Can you honestly ever count against or bet against Max Verstappen? No, you cannot. Home Grand Prix and home glory for the now, in real life, 3-time world champion. Congrats to Max Verstappen. Obviously, guys, honestly, I feel I still deserved to win this Grand Prix. I was literally... My victory was taken away by a fuel glitch thanks to the red flag. But like I said, sometimes that's just how the cookie crumbles, just like Sainz's penalty. And as we look at the result, Max takes the win with me second, Norris third. I think that McLaren are going to be ecstatic with that still. Leclerc starting from P2 ends 4th, Russell 5th, Hamilton 6th, Perez 7th, Alonso 8th, Piastri 9th, and Alexander Albon gets the final point for Williams. Carlos Sainz goes down to P18 thanks to his 5-second penalty. And that honestly is just heartbreaking for Sainz as the pole sitter finishes as the last car to cross the line. Hamilton gets the bonus point for fastest lap. But still, guys, this should have been so much more. And obviously, I can't be too dim. Obviously, it was clear that I had the pace to win this race. But Max just, obviously, between him driving superbly and the fuel, he outclassed me in those final few laps. And he picked the perfect moment to get ahead of Norris. So the championship currently, I'm 59 points ahead of Leclerc, 62 ahead of Verstappen, and 78 ahead of Hamilton. So the Drivers' Championship is still looking pretty secure, but the Constructors, not so much. 38 points ahead of Red Bull and 39 ahead of Ferrari. It is still anyone's game for that Constructors' Championship win. I think Mercedes have lost out a bit too much at this stage of the season now. It's going to be very hard for Mercedes with, what's it now? It's 7 rounds to go in the championship. Unless Mercedes go on an insane winning streak with Aston, Ferrari, and Red Bull's consistency, I doubt Mercedes will get themselves into this fight. So it's a four-way battle for the drivers, but it is starting to fall my way slowly but surely, and a three-team battle for the Constructors' Championship. Will it be the Red Boys from Maranello at the end of the season? Will it be the Red Bull outfit from Milton Keynes? Or will it be the home heroes from Silverstone with Aston Martin who take the Constructors' Championship crown? We still have 8 rounds to go. Well, sorry, 7 rounds to find out, as the season is now officially into the second half. But guys, this has been an absolutely crazy race. Like, everything was starting to go our way as soon as we made our second pit stop, and the red flags ruined everything. Hopefully this glitch gets patched soon. It might be patched already because I did record this video like 2 patches ago. Life has just been a little bit crazy and hectic, guys. But still, it's been a race to remember, one of the highlights of the season. So we're going to look back at this race early in the season, and were those 7 points that we lost to Max going to cost us either the drivers or the constructors? Only time will tell. But guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you so much for staying till the end. Before you click off the video, make sure to go check out the links in the description down below. All my social medias are down there, and I'm really grinding out the content on social media for you guys as well. Make sure while you're down there to drop a like down below on the video. It's only going to take you a nifty few seconds. If you really like this video so much as I have liked it, Make sure to share this video with your friends. Tag me in the post or the story on social media, and I will give you a shout out in a future video as well as on my social media. And finally, if this is your first time viewing Turbo Fox races and you have not yet subscribed, what are you doing? Hit the subscribe down below and don't forget to ding that bell to never miss a future video that can possibly be just as insane as this. It's future videos, future live streams, and future shorts. You don't want to miss a thing here on a TFR. I like that abbreviation. It sounds kind of cool. But guys, thank you so much for watching. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys for whatever video, short, or live stream comes next. I'll see you guys next time. Cheers!